Hi, my name is Rick Osborne, and I'd like to talk to you about a concept called Fore. This is F-O-R-E, which is an acronym for Functional Obesity Risk Evaluation. And a Fore is basically a way to enhance, enrich, or augment the conventional BMI or body mass index that is used around the world to measure changes in childhood obesity. All right, we'd like to talk about the Fore concept in several different parts, and each part is going to have three different aspects to it. The first thing we want to talk about is the basic premise of Fore. The first part of that premise is that basically the observation that obese kids, they can't do lots of things that normal kids can do, but one of the things they cannot do is conventional pull-ups. The other part of that aspect is that kids who can do pull-ups, the odds of them ever being obese are terrible. So kids who can do pull-ups, the odds are that they will never be obese. The second part of the basic premise is that kids who cannot currently do pull-ups can easily learn how to do them if they are given access to the right information and the right experiences. The third part of the basic premise is that once kids learn how to do pull-ups, all they have to do is maintain that ability, which requires good eating and good exercise habits. And if they do that, they will have armed themselves or immunized themselves against obesity for life. They will never have to wrestle with the America's #1 health threat as long as they can do at least one pull-up. The second aspect we want to talk about is the equipment that is required to figure out a Fore. It requires three things. Number one, it requires a pull-up bar. Number two, it requires a 60-inch tape measure. And number three, it requires a set of height-adjustable pull-up straps, which are basically the same thing as suspension training straps. So those three things are what's required. And what I'd like you to see there is that the expense of the required equipment is negligible. There's not a school, there's not a YMCA, there's not a Boys and Girls Club or a church group in the country that cannot afford to do this. They said they simply want to do it. The third aspect that we want to talk about is the measurements that you have to take in order to get a Fore. They include what we call point H, which is where you have the child or the person raise their hands up as high as they can, and you mark the point or record the point at which his fingertips or her fingertips are touching the tape. That's point H. The second point that you want to measure is the point where their chin is touching the tape. That is point L. So you got the high point and the low point. And the third point that you want to measure is point M, the medium point. And this is where you have to ask some kids to perform some height adjustable pull-ups that you're going to see here on the side. You basically start out where it's good and low, where you know the kid is going to succeed, have them jump and pull at the same time, stop at the top, let themselves back down, and if that's easy, then you raise the straps a couple of inches and you have them do it again. And if that's easy, you raise it again and have them do it one more time. Finally, you find a place where the participant can't go any higher and be successful, and you record that point. So that point is going to be somewhere between the L and the H. So you got L, H, and M now, and with those 3 points, we will talk about how to calculate a Fore. The first thing you do is you subtract point L from point H. So it's H minus L, and that will give you X. The second thing you do is subtract L from M. So M minus L gives you Y. You now have X and Y. The last thing you have to do is to divide Y by X. So Y over X will give you a Fore. It comes out to be a percentage. It'll be a 30% or a 40% or a 50% or a 60, 75%. And what that tells you basically is how close you are to being able to do a conventional pull-up. When you can take it all the way to the top without needing any leg assistance and do a conventional pull-up, that is a 100% Fore score. When you have a 100% Fore score, the odds of you being obese, that is to say having a BMI of 30 or more, having a body composition score of 30 or higher, are non-existent for all practical purposes. But we also encourage that you do more. So 2 pull-ups is a 200% score. 3 pull-ups is a 300% score. And the more pull-ups you can do, the more functional antibodies you have built into your system, and the better your odds are of fending off obesity for the rest of your life.